Hey guys, sorry for not uploading yesterday. I was super sick. So today I was going to do a book review, but I'm going to give a shout out right now to my mother, who suggested me just talk about like historical events, people, and places. So today I decided to talk about the Nazis. With the invasion of Normandy coming up June 6th, I felt it was kind of appropriate to explore the people we were trying to overthrow. Well, I have some two really good pictures that were taken by my great uncle. His name was Buddy. He was in the Air Force. The first one is of the signing of the surrender. Really cool picture. And the second one is of two Nazi officials. I actually don't know who they are totally. I've tried to look into it. I know this guy right here with the staff is probably a part of the Panzer Corps. And the other guy is a part of the Luftwaffe. You could tell because of the badge. I can point it out. Right here. That little eagle pin shows that he's a part of the Luftwaffe. So I have kind of looked into those. That's actually a part of a giant box I have from my my grandfather. His name was Timothy Eugene Moriarty. He was a navigator. He actually has a bombing map of Nagasaki. He did know about the atomic bomb, which is really cool to talk about. But right now I want to focus on Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. Well, the National Socialist Party of Germany had originally started right after World War I. We have to backtrack a little bit before we can move forward on them. So during World War I, the Treaty of Versailles is agreed upon, which says Germany started everything. It's all Germany's fault. Germany must give up land. They must give up the ability to have an army. And the Germans don't take too kindly to this because technically they didn't start World War I. World War I was started when the Serbians assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand by an organization known as the Black Hand. Yes, Serbia's Black Hand isn't a political organization, but it did have connections to many of the Serbian political members of the time. So, when the Treaty of Versailles is signed, Germany has to take all responsibilities and they must pay back other countries. Well, at first it's going great because United States is paying Germany. Germany is paying Britain and France. Britain and France is paying the United States. So it's this big square. And then the Great Depression hits because world stock market crashes, which means Germany can no longer pay, which means there's going to be massive inflation, allowing men like Adolf Hitler to take power. Now, originally, Hitler was not a part of the original founding Nazi Party. He actually was sent in by the Weimar Republic, which is a republic formed right after World War I. You see, Kaiser Wilhelm abdicated his throne and fled the country after the war had ended. So they formed a republic called the Weimar Republic, whose leader was Otto von Bismarck, who was a brilliant military general. Now, Bismarck hates Hitler. Let's make that very clear. Hitler will do his Bierhalle Putsch, which will fail, which will lead to the 12 Nazi flags, symbolizing the 12 men who fell during the Bierhalle Putsch. So during the early years, Hitler and his Nazis aren't that important. Going back to how Hitler joined, he was actually sent by the Weimar Republic to spy on the Nazi Party, and yeah, he ended up joining and becoming a leader. Not a good idea to send somebody who is a German nationalist, who believes Germany is amazing, who's not even from Germany, Hitler's from Austria, to a group that's trying to make Germany better again. Now, you can see in my background, I have a picture of London, and I have a picture of New York. But Hitler really didn't care about anything else. Now, he comes up with the ideology of Mein Kampf during his jail time. He actually does not write Mein Kampf. He dictates it out to one of his other companions who was jailed with him. And it's a dictated book. It's not something that he actually read. He just dictated it to somebody else. So Hitler creates the idea, and I've read Mein Kampf. It actually doesn't call for the murder of Jews. It just says that they're below the Aryan race and therefore should be treated below them. So you don't really see the aggression towards the Jews, unlike Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels, who's a propaganda minister. I have a feeling Goebbels is more behind the final solution than Hitler, just because Goebbels was an egotistical man. Hitler really was more focused on like building up Germany, while Goebbels was more focused on how do I become more powerful and how do I try to make myself look better. I know my hair is a mess right now. It's been raining all day and I'm trying. So Goebbels was turned down by a Jewish girl. And when Goebbels gets turned down by the Jewish girl, it hits his ego. Goebbels isn't a good-looking man to begin with. He has a clubbed foot. He's very mousy-looking, in my opinion. And when this happens, it's a big ego blow. So he starts hating the Jews just because he got turned down. So Goebbels himself didn't really like the Jews. Okay, well, how does this play into the Nazi conscience? Well, Goebbels is your propaganda minister, meaning he's going to create all the propaganda. Now, Goebbels has one unit that is a threat to him. It's called the SA, led by Ernest Röhm. Now, Röhm was Hitler's closest friend. And Röhm's also openly gay. So yes, there was a gay Nazi squad. And they were probably the most brutal squad of their time. The SA, or brown shirts, used to go around killing people just because they'd beat people in the street. It was very, very well known that they were a bloodthirsty group of people. Well, Himmler and another man named Heydrich, I cannot remember Heydrich's first name, they didn't like Röhm because Röhm held a lot of power over Hitler. And they also didn't like Röhm because he was openly gay. So they started to plot to try and bring down Röhm. Well, in the end, they actually do bring down Röhm in the Night of Broken Glass, or Kristallnacht, where they go around and they kill off Röhm and his men. And they even announce it to the world press. Now this, of course, all happens after the Reichstag fire. You see, the Nazi Party set Hitler into power, becoming Chancellor, and Bismarck hates Hitler. The only reason why Bismarck agreed to it was because the Nazi Party had gained so much power. But it wasn't a good idea. So Hitler becomes Chancellor, Bismarck is still president, Bismarck is aging. He's probably in his 70s at this point in time. He's going to die pretty soon. So when the Reichstag fire happens, Hitler decides he's going to declare martial law, saying that all forms of government except his own is going to be destroyed. Well, the people agree with a 99.9% yeah vote, saying they agree to giving up their power. Why? Well, Hitler's very persuasive, or the ballot boxes were stuffed. Take your pick. So we're setting up the German state. Now, why do people trust the Nazis? I mean, this is a big question that several people try to answer, including Claudia Kuntz in her book, The Nazi Conscience. Okay, if you have a chance to read this book, I highly suggest it. It's a really good book, and if you can't tell, it's been lovingly used. I love this book. And she explores the concept of a country's consciousness, like in America, how we have certain things we stand by, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. We have the right to bear arms. These are things that we constantly say that we actually believe in. Well, the Nazi conscience talks about how downtrodden the Germans were after the Treaty of Versailles was signed, and how they had to have taken blame for everything, and this was a way for them to try and fight back. I mean, how would you feel if our country went to war and we lost, but we didn't start the war? We were dragged in, say, by Britain, and we lost, but we were told that we had to pay back all the countries we harmed in the war, and it's all of our fault. We have to say everything is our fault. So that's really how the Germans felt, and a lot of people didn't agree with the Treaty of Versailles, but America was outvoted. Woodrow Wilson did not want Germany to be faulted, but the other countries wanted them to, so it ended up coming out that way. So the Nazi conscience explores that. You also have another great book that if you want to read, I highly suggest, by Christopher Browning, Ordinary Men, which this book is about a SS battalion in Poland that is going around killing people, and it's a horrific book, really is. but it's a good read because this is the true story of these men and what they did in the name of their fatherland. Now, I'm going to jump ahead to after the Battle of Dunkirk. Hitler is on a winning streak. He thinks he can defeat everybody. And then he decides to go turn against the Russians. And then now he has a two-front war he's fighting. But I'll get more into that on June 6th when I talk about the invasion of Normandy. So I'm going to jump all the way to the end of the war to suggest two books. The first being Operation Paperclip. If you guys don't know what Operation Paperclip is, I suggest looking into it because every American has one German rocket scientist to thank for creating the NASA program. This is a book all about how we would sneak German scientists that were actually Nazis into America under the guise of Operation Paperclip. These were men that we didn't want to fall into Russian hands, and they were amazing scientists that we needed for our country to grow. And without their help, we wouldn't have NASA. Yeah, this guy was the one who invented the V-2 rocket, which, if you don't know, reigned terror over England because they fired it in all parts of civilian culture and wherever civilians were. So, the final book I'm going to suggest was a book I was going to review this week by Sidney Kirkpatrick. I do still plan on reviewing this, but maybe later on. It is called Hitler's Holy Relics. And this explains a lot. This is where Hitler kind of gets into the metaphysics of the world, where he believes that these holy relics from the Holy Roman Empire is going to help him win the war, and it has some magical beliefs. I mean, truly magical beliefs. So this is a quick overview of the Nazis. Join me tomorrow to learn more about this, and leave a comment or a like below. Tell me something you want me to explore. Have a wonderful day, guys. Also, if you're in the Tampa area, please be safe. I know there's a tropical storm. It's been pouring all day here, and I'm up in the Panhandle, but have a wonderful day.